Hi, this is just an idea I'm throwing around at the moment for a potential race. What you're looking at here is the island of Tenerife for those who are not familiar with it. And I have done a lot of training in Tenerife at the height of my running career. Before I retired, I would do almost all of my real kind of hardcore training on Tenerife because it's up at altitude, so certainly the center of the island is, and it's stunning. The trails are you can be in the middle of nowhere at times completely alone, and it's just so picturesque. So I've thought often of creating a race up here and been throwing around ideas for a while. So let me show you what I've got so far. First of all, let's zoom in on the island of Tenerife, which is dominated, hopefully, by what you'll see in a minute here, by this great big peak there. So this is an active volcano called Mount Teede. Last erupted about 100 years ago. It's a little bit overdue for another one, but hopefully we'll be okay. And it's very pretty to go up to the top of that. Anyway, let's have a look around here. This area is the plateau, which is around about 2,200 meters of elevation. And this around the edge here, I don't know if you can see, this is what's called the caldera, or the old crater rim. This entire top used to be a volcano until this blew hundreds of years ago, and out of the middle of it grew Teede, which is another smaller volcano. But make no mistake, this isn't small by any stretch of the imagination. The peak of this is 3,000, nearly 3,800 meters. So you're talking three times higher than Ben Nevis here. So it's a great big old peak. So the green trail here is my idea for an event, and we'll talk about the blue one in a minute. Essentially, you are circumnavigating all the way around the volcano on the green trail, and the blue trail is a route which actually scales the volcano to go just around the summit cone and down the other side. So potentially offer that as an option. So what I'll do is I'm going to zoom down in here to the start location, which is the Parador Hotel. There's only one hotel here up on the plateau. That's not to say anyone's got to stay here, but it's just a convenient start location. So you will have travelled up through the clouds to get up onto the plateau here, which is gorgeously clear. There's telescopes and all sorts of things up here used by astronomers because the air is so clear. So if I now spin us around, let me get down here into the Parador Hotel. What I'm going to do is start a little video and then talk you through it. So this is the Parador Hotel here. If I drop it back a little bit. So I'm going to start this video and just talk you through. So as I say here, we're around about 2,200 meters on the plateau, and you can see a few cars parked around here. This is a very popular tourist spot. These, I think they're called the Rocks Garcia, something along those lines, and they're very amazing lunar landscape. They film lots of movies on here because of all these lava flows all over the place. It's like nothing you've ever seen if you've not visited. So let's start this little video and start to move forward here. So the trail will take you, if you were following the blue trail, which is the one that actually goes up to Teede, you would initially go alongside the Garcia rocks here and start to scale the volcano itself, which is a steep old climb. This is going to be a hike for most, especially given the altitude. It's not a dangerous altitude, really, going up to 3,700 meters, but certainly you're going to feel short of breath as you ascend. Hopefully in crystal clear blue skies because you're sitting up here above all the weather. So generally speaking, it's really nice and clear up here. So you start to go up. Then you start to cross some of the lava flows. You can see these lava flows here all over the place. You're dipping in and out of these. And then you'll shortly head up to where you come to a right-hand turn, which is some way up the volcano here. So this crater you're about to see here is called Pico Viejo, which means the old peak. So this is another volcano which is sitting right next to Teede. And this one has also erupted in the past, though not for about 300 years. So you'll go just to the right of that rim and then start to go up through what are called the Badlands here. So this is the rough old lava flows. You start to head up and then you come up around towards the summit cone right here. So I'm just going to pause the video right there. So there's actually a cable car station that takes all the tourists up. Only the brave would actually go up like we would, and eventually get to the cable car station, and they go back down. It is possible to obtain a permit to go up the last 100 or so meters. It's actually gated, and you can go up and see. There's actually not a lot to see up there. It's just pretty much as you see there. It's a slightly sulfur smelling plateau there. Anyway, for the purposes of the race, because it's so tightly controlled, we will go up to around the very summit cone itself, but don't worry, you will have definitely got the best of the views even if you don't go up that last few meters up to the top there. So let me carry on past here, and you start to head down these rocks here. You'll go down past the mountain refuge, which is at 3,200 meters, around about this area. There it is right there. Then you'll head down past all these past all this zigzag right the way down here and start to head back down towards the plateau. There's a little village here called Las Cañadas, which shares the name with the caldera itself. And then we're joining. It's quite a well-established cycle trail that goes up to a rock called past a rock called La Fortaleza, if I remember rightly. It's like a bit like Ayers Rock, if you will. It is possible actually to go up over the top of that. I've not quite decided whether to send you up and down this gully, but the gully is a bit gnarly, so adventurous but gnarly. So I've yet to decide whether to send you there. After that, you're heading through the forest here, in and out all of these little barranco or ravines. Let's give you a quick view of Teedy. There we go, just to see the kind of view you'll be expecting at that point in time. And then what I'll do is I'll just pause it there and drop you back into Google Earth just to get you an idea of where we are right there. So if I zoom out a little bit and head down here, so this is where we were. I turn on some of the photos and let you have a look at some of the views which you might see. So let's have a look. What have we got here? So these are the kind of views you're going to see from this side of the volcano. So you'll have had the pleasure of going up there first of all, and then going right the way around and through this incredible little forest where you're going to see some of the most stunning views. You can see all the lava flows down here as well. Okay, let's continue the video on a little bit more. So we're going to continue along the route here, and we will cross straight over one of the main roads which comes up from the coast. And then I've got a route choice at this point, either to send you along the nice, safe, well-established route, or potentially up this way. Now, there's no official path that goes from about there to here, so I'm going to have to recce that to decide if it's safe or not. I know this is an established path, but if it is possible, it'll make for quite an exciting bit of a scramble up here, because although it might not look it, this drop here is quite a few hundred feet. It's steeper than it looks as well, but there is a path once you're on top of here that goes along and switchbacks and then goes down there and continue along. There is potentially some potential to, rather than send you back along the plateau here amongst all these lava fields, to potentially use the Cañada as the old crater rim. Once you get to this point here, I'm going to see if it's possible to get you up onto the rim. I've done quite a lot of running around this crater rim, and I'm not sure how easy it is to get from there to there. It might be potentially very difficult, but if not, then we can stick to the nice lowland route, which takes you back down to the crater and along here, round the Rocks Garcia, and then back along to the Parador Hotel. Anyway, if I zoom back out, let me show you a little bit more about the Cañada. So that potential route choice that I talked around was down here. Let me zoom in. That'll do. Turn around a little bit. Right, so here's that crater rim I was talking about earlier on. the caldera. So it may be possible that rather than taking you on the lowland route, I may be able to take you up and around um, the, the rim that goes around the top, the caldera. Now I know it's possible to get up from this point, but I don't know if it's possible to get up from here. So I'll have to go and check that out. If it is, it's a stunning area to be running in because once you get up along this ridge, you're now up at 1,000 feet between here and here. So it's really incredible views. If I was to probably pick on see if I can find a couple of decent photos, there might be some pictures which will show you the view you're looking at from there. So yeah, there we go. It's not a bad example. Um, and I've done quite a bit of running around these. These are the sombreros. What I'd have to do is take you probably around a slightly safer route around this area. I happen to know that at this point here, you have to scale about a 10-meter wall vertical to get up onto this bit, which I've done, but it's not for everyone. So if I remember rightly, there's a path that takes you just around the lower bit here, so you can avoid that wall and then brings you back up along here, from which point there's a well-established trail right the way along, all the way along the edge of the rim here, which will take you up towards a mountain called Mount Guajara, which is this great big one in front of you here, which is at 2,700 meters. And I do have another idea for potentially a day before recce, which we may go and take in this one just for a bit of fun, really. But other than that, you would then come up to Mount Guajara here, and hopefully you can see a switchback which takes you back down towards the plateau, and then ultimately back down to the Parador Hotel. So there we go. That's my potential idea for a race. The only thing I can promise you is it's absolutely stunning. You won't have seen, if you've not been to Tenerife, you'd be blown away by the scenery of the volcano area up by the national park. If you have been, then I can certainly promise you you won't have seen the trails that you'd be taking on this race. You have to know the island really pretty well in order to be shown them. And even if you have been on a couple of these trails, some of the areas I've got in mind back over by the Cañadas here are rarely, if ever, trodden by anyone. Certainly a little bit of danger, which I think everyone likes to some extent. So let me know what you think.